So guys, welcome to Chrome Talkies. Thank you, Avinash.
Thank you so much for calling.
Thank you,
Pankaj.
It's so lovely to have you over. And I think this is a pure coincidence. We are all in blue.
Yeah,
Men in blue.
Man in Blue.
Young, good-looking, intelligent.
Near the blue water.
Near the blue water. Young, intelligent, good-looking men in blue.
Yes.
Avinash Pandey, welcome to Chrome Talkies again.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations, Abhay.
This is my debut.
This is your debut, but congratulations. You walked into the shoes of a CEO. I'm so
thank
happy
you.
for you. You got a lot of
Yes,
challenges ahead.
Thank
This
you.
is a deja vu moment. We had this
Yeah.
chat a few years ago when Avinash did his first Chrome Talkies, the day he was announced and he took over charge of ABP.
And I remember you told me that you sent the same cake to me. That the cake you sent to Avinash.
His cake was separate. He ate it up. This was another cake, similar looking. Same
Similar
name.
looking.
That's why. So that's why I said to you,
Similar looking cake. Okay. Okay. That's good.
similar looking cake, probably the same flavor. But congratulations, you got a huge responsibility. How many channels, Abhay?
Thank you so much. Right now, as of now, we are having 16 channels altogether.
So what lies on your shoulders? How many channels? would you
Excluding Vion and Z Business, all the channels are lying
14
in it.
channels. You're
It's 14
responsible
channels.
for the P&L of 14 channels.
14 channels.
That's a lot of.
That's a lot of things. So it's not only the nationals. There are we are going ahead with the two more channels on making an international channels, which is one is the Salam ZR Urdu channel. Probably within 1 month, 1.5 months, it will be across in Dubai, Saudi, entire area. So probably, so I can say that the national channel will upgrade to the international channel.
I'm going through a state of nostalgia. I want to ask you exactly what I asked Avinash
Yeah.
many years ago when he's been a business head for a long time.
Yeah.
My question to Avinash was, and it is to you now, as a head of a news channel, you are responsible for both the P&L and the editorial.
That's correct.
Right? Editorial is
Editorial also, yeah.
So if there was a situation, Avinash, you remember this question. If there was a situation where there was a conflict of interest and you
Yeah.
had a major advertiser,
Yeah.
for example, an aerated drink manufacturer,
Correct.
and you had some huge news against them, what would you pick? The news or the fact that they're a big advertiser and you can't run the news?
So it's a very tricky question, Pankaj. Let me tell you one thing. It's a nice question as well. We faced it many times. News is always first, right? And first, so whatever the facts, the news will come. And yes, and that because news is always a two side of the story. It's not one sided story. So when the story comes, you said that it's against the story. So there would be a fact check. There would be from an advertiser also that we'll give an opportunity both to speak. We are just a platform, so we'll give an opportunity to speak each other. So that's what I.
will go with the news.
Not exactly. I'm saying that I'll go with the truth. So once I'm just acting as a platform.
Avinash gave a 3 or 4 letter sentence. He said, "I will go ahead with the news." He said, "We are in the business of news. If you get the news right, the revenues
will come." So that's
only on the revenues, the ratings will never come. So
as you are aware that we are not on the box. So first, topmost important thing is that.
Yeah.
So the news, yes, as I said, the news is first. As I clearly said that. But we act as a platform rather than giving the direction whether it is right or wrong, or that we'll just produce the facts.
Sure. So, Avinash, the industry has been grappling with data, with numbers to sell news. On the ratings panel, question marks whether the data is the sampling is too small to reflect brands. We conducted a survey across some 50,000 respondents. You will be aware of the survey. It was part of a work commission. But one thing that came across, if you were to ask anyone who watches Hindi news outside of Maharashtra or Goa, if you go to the core Hindi belt like a Delhi, UP, Haryana, everyone, if you ask them to name 5 brands, they would name Aaj Tak, ABP, Z and India TV. So after we came out with the digital data, I'm not surprised to see ABP standing at number 2 on digital, excluding VOD, YouTube VOD, which is, so your linear broadcast, which is on Android devices, on Samsung Tizen, YouTube Live, third-party app installations, your own native apps.
Right.
It comes to almost 20.3 million views in a month. Very handsome number. Number two is a good position to be in with 300 new channels. What's your view on how do you plan to monetize that?
First of all, we decided long back that no matter where you are and what device that you are on, you should be able to watch my channel.
Yeah.
We embraced this technology about almost close to 4 or 5 years ago, and we said we'll stream on every possible platform that is available that comes across to us, because we are not in a business of providing platform. The platform operators are reaching out to the consumers, and hence we should be part of that. Number one. These numbers are very good, but these numbers are still, there's a long way to go. The big money in digital world starts coming on once you start crossing 100 million reach, right? Right now,
sorry to cut you, but if you add VOD as well, you are currently at 69 million.
Absolutely.
Which includes recorded content.
Absolutely. So what is happening is that we are approaching two-pronged way of monetizing it. One is that we are selling directly, okay, which is TV plus digital.
Right.
We are selling, okay, which means that all the feed where we have the control of inserting the ads. Right now, there are several kind of contracts in the market where the third party also have a way of inserting the advertising into the breaks. So what we are doing is that wherever we have the possibility of putting the ads in the middle of the break, we are selling directly TV plus digital. Then the second one is that what clients are asking for innovations within the content. So, and we are selling it across the platform. So that if you are wanting me to insert an L band, which goes as it is in the VOD,
as well.
So
that L band goes across all feeds.
Across all
so
feeds.
You're reaching the entire universe.
Absolutely. So we are doing that. Third one is that we are asking the third party to sell because they know the data and they are still selling in the traditional digital way, which is like so many AMUs, etc., etc. So when they do it, we have a percentage slice of that revenue. So right now, I'll say in a product growth cycle, normally it takes about 10 to 12 years for the product to get matured. In a typical industry which grows at about 4 to 5%. But here in this case, I think this maturity of delivering the content and monetizing it is between from the nascent stage to the mature stage. I think it will move faster than what we could imagine. So next 2 years time, I think more and more sale will be happening live TV on connected devices.
Yes, I couldn't agree more with you. And you will see a lot of young 20, 25-year-old people who have been involved in the digital world.
That's right.
Running those kind of shows. Abhay, coming to you.
Yeah.
Looking at the overall reach.
Yes.
If I was to look at linear, cable and satellite reach, which is reported through our panel, adding the digital reach, which is incremental, completely
Correct.
outside of cable, that adds up to 294 million unique views in the month of April.
Yes.
So with a universe of 1174 million, we've got Z News at about 294 million. Again, overall total reach, so we are talking about live outside of VOD. But if you look at overall reach here, again, Z News falls at number 2. And the rank here is Aaj Tak Z India TV on the overall numbers. What's your view on how do you plan to monetize overall reach numbers? Avinash gave a fantastic example of the L band which goes on overall.
So exactly what I was just trying to say, what the way Avinash said that what the industry need to focus right now on branded content, brand solutions, which is the future. First, technically for a news channel, normally all advertisers come for a frequency, high frequency, and that is not giving kind of ROI which the brands are looking for. So now the way forward, the future is that why the Instagram, why the other reels are getting more popular, why the most of the advertisers are funding that money, because if they hire Shah Rukh Khan or somebody, they are spending more money, so they are going for a branded content. So they are for the influencer or whoever. Like in our case, there are many other program which is content driven program. So brand solution is something which is, I believe that it's growing faster than the before. And earlier, mostly dependability was on a corporate and the advertising which was coming on a 30-second advertising, or that now the space from 30 seconds to growing to 1 minute or 2 minutes, maybe brand incorporation. That is what the overall. So I can agree with Avinash more that this is the best way to monetize on a higher side. This is the just started, as Avinash said. It will take time for industry to mature, maybe 3-4 years down the line.
News is a huge cash burn
Yeah.
So huge cash burn business, and more with about practically 300.
Yeah, because we are making content live. We're making content every minute. Yeah.
Fresh
So
content
fresh
every
content every
day.
minute. So if you look at any other industry, so their content is not fresh. So I mean, I must say that the kind of job editors are doing, it's very difficult. They are creating a packages in every minute or whatever. The some news comes, then the graphics goes. So of course, it's a high cash burn business, but again, because the content is coming fresh.
Yeah, and I think it gets more and more challenging to resonate with audiences. Soft news is if I may call it, tends to air or tends to rate better than hard news, right? So if I was, and I'm asking you both because you both handle editorial, and if you walk out and talk to general public, there is a lot of dissonance. They'll say news में हम news कहाँ बताते हैं? That kind of thing happens, and it's not it's a lot of other guys because everyone is a newsmaker. Anyone picks up a camera and airs news. What's your view on the fact that news is where it is today vis-a-vis what was 20 years ago, and where do you see it going 5 years down on the seriousness of content? It's open to both of you.
Yeah, so I think I would say that, for example, when you say 20 years before, the news was a print newspaper, and then become there was a television also. Then because the sources of news was very less, So if suppose you want to watch the news, then you have to tune the news channel and then you get it. Now the digital world, news is just one line, and it's on Twitter. So just one flash, the news, breaking news, the news is there. Now what we do, we actually explain, we analyze, and we suggest that these are for example, there is a case, there is one accident happened in Goa. Now why this accident happened, what was the reason, who all are there, it can never be on one line. So it can never be on a digital. So that is the reason when I say that the different type of content, yeah. So more analytical and more factual.
You agree with the fact, Avinash, a lot of news now no longer is limited to breaking the news, because eventually there are so many people, someone will break it. If not a news channel, maybe a citizen or individual break it. It's more about telling a story, and telling a story in a language that people understand. Is that what news makes?
So I'll tell you, I'll take you back about 20 years ago when we started, 20, 25 years ago when we started live television and news. Uh, they said newspaper, who will read the newspaper? Because you have already seen the news,
Yeah.
you're going to get reported in the newspaper. But newspaper reinvented themselves as to what they are putting in the headline on the front page. And Times of India started putting about 25 or 26 stories in the front page itself.
Yeah.
And then there's a leaflet what is going to be inside
Correct.
and all that. Industry has to evolve. My belief is this, that people don't come to news channel to watch breaking news. People don't come to the news channel to see the news headlines. Probably they know the headline and they want to know the inside of that headline, and that's why they come on news television.
You couldn't have elaborated better. Absolutely.
Middle of the road, it's a media business is about creating interest and becoming interesting, right? It's a blockbuster business. To be interesting, you cannot be on the middle of the road. You have, because if you are neutral, means you have no view. Neutral does not mean you have no view. If you have a no view channel, then probably you will not be able to attract or hold the audience for long.
Absolutely.
What is required now for news channels, number one, is to tell a story from both sides, which is not happening in our country in most of the channels, right? Tell the story from the both sides. Don't say what is exactly happening. This is what we are trying at our end, saying that being in the middle of the road does not mean that we do not have any, right? Second part is that news channels will have to invest money in the long form content. And as you said, it's a very hard business. It's cash burn business, right? To do a long form story, you need a very good research team at the back end. You need to have right characters who will narrate those stories, and you have to have right, production quality.
Getting the right characters to narrate is also a huge character.
Absolutely.
One more thing, because they're also stars on their own.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
In fact, adding to one thing, when you ask that there are like people, anybody can have the camera and start the news. If you see the pattern that the confirmation for the audience or for the viewers, that authenticity is primarily on the news channels first.
That's right.
And for a digital it is as low as just 30% or 20%. because the sources of the news is more important. So as a broadcaster, we are having a lot of rules or regulations which we follow,
Yeah.
and as an own ethics,
Yeah.
which is not there right now on
But in a way,
other platforms. There is
in a way, everyone is in some way or the other a competitor. I'll give an
absolutely.
example, and it's human psyche. So news no longer is about breaking it first, but the WhatsApp university is about breaking it first. So when the 2,000 rupee exchange, not discontinuation or whatever is supposed to happen, I got like 50 people sending me the tuck, 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 and everyone want to be the first one to sell it, like all friends within a community. But the fact is that पता तो लग ही जाएगा ना, पता लग जाएगा, Facebook पे पता लग जाएगा, one of the channels will tell us, but humans want to be the first to inform.
Absolutely. So like you said, for the 2000 currency, this thing, somebody got news on the WhatsApp and said, "Look, this has happened." I said, "It's a fake news." First switch on the TV. Okay. And
Exactly
when
what I was
the
talking
TV,
about.
no, it's not a fake news
So
anymore.
that's what I was talking about.
Only the anchor did not take it from WhatsApp.
No, 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 no.
No,
We
no,
do
that's
have
that,
our,
that's the only
yes,
difference
yes,
between
The fact that it's a huge business, there's going to be a lot of
so that
research work
so
involved.
when you
But I will tell you, I don't want to name. There have been different channels. When the demonetization happened, there was this huge story of a microchip inside, which was
yeah, absolutely
that was carried by national media. Let's not deviate from
true.
it. It was not you or maybe your whoever it was.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
those
absolutely.
which later turned out to be fake news on national media. So we go wrong on national media as well. That takes me to the next point with you, Abhay.
Yeah,
Regional content versus national content. So Z News versus Z
anything.
regionals.
Yeah,
Same thing for you. Good of you have regional content doing very well in the respective markets. How different is the news? One, it's only regional centric, but
Yeah.
is there something very scientific in terms of how you tackle an approach? So Marathi or a Tamil
yeah.
versus a national channel.
So I tell you what, why regional channels, the difference between a national channel and a news regional channel is, for a national channel, only the day the top four news are their main news. You know that's amplified and that's how it goes. For a regional channel, it's a hyper local.
It's very hyper local.
Very hyper
You have
local.
national news as well. So
Yes.
2000 rupee news will run on that as well.
Yeah.
But you'll get reaction from the local people.
Exactly. So when you have a hyper local, so then you kind of get a more inside of the audience for viewership. That is what more important. So regional channel, all regional channel have their own flavor, completely different flavor. National is completely different. National, if I typically say that every day there are top three, top four news, and then the biggest news is picked up, and the debates are happening, and everything is happening. Unlike in a regional channel may not be they also have a debate shows, but they may not be a political debate. It may be a different kind of debate. More hyperlocal. If I typically say that a national channel is having almost 150 news in a day, and regional channel will have more than 300 news.
Yes.
So that is something which is different. So to know what exactly happening around me is need a regional channel, and what is happening, at the distance, for that is a national channel.
Yes. What about ABP regional journalists? Again, the question, besides that, one more I'm throwing in a question is the flagship driver is your national, right? So,
I agree.
network,
I agree to
network,
disagree on this. I agree to disagree on this, Pankaj.
network is known by the flagship brand. Is that true? So, if your flagship does well, the regionals are recognized, or from a revenue point, I'm not aware. From a revenue point, do they have a major contribution?
For us, revenue point of view, our channel in other languages are doing as good, or almost 50% of our total revenue.
So they are
Coming from other languages.
Yeah.
And I don't call them regional languages, I call them language channels, because in Urdu, word watan does not mean a geographical territory. It's a territory where you speak the same language, eat the similar kind of food, and probably follow similar customs.
Yeah.
The size of some of our states are bigger than Europe. And so what we focus there is that you have to understand the culture, the customs, and the politics of that particular state.
Yes.
And language.
Exactly.
And then you have to follow that. And if you follow that, you will get the money.
Yes,
No,
absolutely. On advertising, sales, and on revenue sources, I just want to wrap this up with something interesting. And I need your views on that. A lot of people have been approaching us as coming with a unified currency for selling content. Unified for cable and satellite, and the same thing could be applied on digital. What we've tried to do is we've taken one of the channels, an average concurrent views on YouTube come to about 33,000 at any given point of time. If I look at 12 hours,
Yeah.
33,000. And if I was to add more devices, Android devices, Tizen, browser, native apps, that comes to almost 43,000. Now, 43,000 concurrent views across 18 hours divided by the universe at that point in time, which is 448 million, comes to a TVR of 0.01.
0.01.
Now,
yeah.
this is a simple calculation for a digital TVR, and the same channel gets a cable and satellite,
Yes.
which is a major chunk of revenue, of 0.034. So if you look at the ratios, digital is already contributing to almost 33%,
Correct.
right? Does that mean that your effective rate should be 33% higher than what they are today?
If you sell this combined, yes.
They should be 33%.
Yes.
And you know what you have done
Absolutely.
is a fundamentally very good job, I must tell you.
Yeah.
This is what we
So nobody was able to break
to
this.
the audience, yeah.
Yeah, I mean this basically this methodology was needed a long time back, and we were just selling digital on absolutely on a free of cost basis. Actually, on a free of cost basis, whereas only
We have basically
Google monetization was right.
somebody else was making money on our
Somebody else was making, like for example, Google is pay for for example pay for 1 rupees and actually collecting 90 rupees.
Yeah.
So somebody else was getting more benefit. Now when you come with this data, I mean this methodology, I must say that this should be completely taken to the all advertisers, and exactly we should get our share rather than somebody else is getting a share.
One thing very important which I want to share with both of you, which I couldn't present today due to paucity of time, CPMs are sold on a completion of 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Video view. Lekin what research says that if you have watched 3 seconds, only 36% of the same people will watch the complete 30 seconds. Itna audience drop ho jata hai. But if you watch 3 seconds, 90% people complete 10 seconds as well. मतलब ऐसा नहीं है 3 सेकंड देख के एकदम चौथे पे एग्जिट कर गए
10 second
10%, 90% will exit after 10 seconds, 89% to be precise, which effectively means if you are paid a CPM, television CPM right now, digital is operating at 200 for 3 seconds. Effectively, you are delivering 10 seconds. You should be getting a CPM of 600.
right.
That's correct.
That's the
That's
industry thing
absolutely.
which I think all of
Right.
you get to
Well, I think
I
that's
think
what I said, that something which was very much
industry
needed.
has to you must share this with as many industry body as possible. Today was a great opportunity to share with the AAA and many of the clients were sitting. I think the industry is deeply in need of such currency to be available, because if they are saying that people are cutting the cord, does not mean they have stopped watching content. They are watching the
Exactly.
content through other device, my content through other devices, which is somebody else is monetizing it. And industry has to come together, and it's a loss for everyone. Client, it's a loss for the client, it's a loss for the advertising agency, it's a loss for us. And it has to be sold like live TV is sold across all devices. And I think fantastic. It will go.
currency which people understand.
That's right.
True. Absolutely true. I think Pankaj, I think this as an industry body, we should promote this, or we should push it to the.
That's right.
At least we should educate to the all advertisers, agencies, and our own people, our own sales people. Right. That's what I had discussion with you today. So I think we are going towards a more
Absolutely.
positive and better way, I guess. I'm
Absolutely.
sure Avinash will agree on this.
I am an eternally optimistic person. The future is always bright. The best is yet to come.
Right.
It's getting dark here.
Yeah.
So I think we should wrap it up for a brighter future. Lovely chatting up, Avinash. Lovely chatting up, Abhay.
Thank you.
Coincidentally, both your days.
Thank you so much.
Good luck, Abhay.
Thank you so much,
For the
Pankaj.
great new
Thank you.
responsibility that you've got. Avinash, you've been a great leader. Everyone knows that. More in that touch. It's always a pleasure chatting up with you.
Thank you so much for calling.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for calling.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you.
The men in blue.
Cheers.
3 guys.
Yes, guys.
3 handsome, young, good-looking, intelligent men. I'm sure we agree with that.
100%.
Nobody will
disagreement.
disagree on this.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Thank you.